Hey there, Prodigy Land. It's me, Coach Randy. I'm here to thank you for tuning in to Prodigy Bowlers Tour and to ask you a small favor. For the first 6 years of Prodigy, the show's base of subscribers steadily grew by 2 or 3,000 viewers per year, putting us at just under 21,000 by the time we did our first show in Kansas City 2 years ago. But ever since, the number of subscribers has pretty much plateaued. As of this taping, we're still sitting at just a little over 21,000 subscribers. Yet I see the analytics from YouTube, and I know that many more people are watching than is reflected in the number of subscribers we have. The fact is, only about a quarter of our viewers actually subscribe to the channel. But did you know that it's a combination of factors that tilts the YouTube algorithm in our favor to help grow the channel? The number of subscribers, the number of likes we get, otherwise known as thumbs up, and the level of engagement, which translates to comments left, all combine to determine whether the channel shows up in other viewers' recommended videos, which is one of the ways that the channel grows. So I'd like to ask you to please leave a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button so you're subscribed to the channel. It doesn't cost you a penny. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Just don't leave a spoiler, the kind of comment that gives away the ending. And maybe the biggest thing you can do to help us grow the channel is to share the video with your family and friends, anybody you know who likes bowling. I still run into avid bowlers who've never heard of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Heck, a couple of the contestants on today's video had never heard of Prodigy and had no idea why there was a camera perched above them to film them from behind. So, like, comment, and subscribe, and then be sure to share the video on your social media feeds and in email with your family and friends. Help us spread the word about Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Let's get the number of subscribers moving up again. And thanks for being a loyal Prodigy head. Now in its 9th season, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 176. The 2024 Kansas City Open October Point Tournament. 5 players have qualified for the TV finals, but only one can leave as the Division I champion. Here are our 5 finalists. Qualifying 5th is Landon Stoddard of Higginsville, Missouri. He'll face the number 4 qualifier, Dylan Pollard, the Dill Pickle of Lee Summit. The winner will face our number 3 qualifier, Colton Swift of Emporia, Kansas. The winner of that match will challenge our 2 seed, Andrew Coleman of the Bowling Coleman family. And that winner will bowl for the championship against Simon McLaren Houseworth. He's making his first appearance on Prodigy today. One of these 5 athletes will earn the October KCO Division I championship and will sign the neon yellow coveted trophy pin on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We've returned north of the Missouri River to Gladstone, Missouri and Gladstone Bowl for the Kansas City Open October Point Tournament. Earlier this month on episode 175, we brought you the championship round action in Division III, and today we turn our attention to the scratch bowlers in Division I with averages of 200 and higher. The KCO holds competition each month in 5 average base divisions, and if you'd be interested in participating in a future tournament, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com for all the details. The format in these KCO Point tournaments is this. All the players choose whether they want to bowl in the A squad or the B squad. A squad goes off first thing in the morning at 8:45, followed by B squad. Both squads bowl 3 games in the morning, and then they come back and bowl 3 more in the afternoon before the field is cut to the top 5 for the championship round stepladder finals. Here's how the qualifying round went down in Division 1. Nobody got off to a faster start than Dylan Pollard, who hit the ground running with a 289 out of the gate. But then a couple of so-so games meant he fell back, while Landon Stoddard's 277 opening volley, followed by two more 200-plus games, including a 235, was enough to put him in the lead. Meanwhile, a familiar name to Prodigy Land, Rhett Ryman, one of our 3 reigning players of the year, was close behind in second. Jaden Myers threw his hat in the ring, thanks in large part to a 269 second game. He sat in third after the morning block. Thomas Futrell was inside the projected cut line after the opening 3 games, while Colton Swift and Simon McLaren Hausworth were on the outside looking in, as was Andrew Coleman, who sat in 10th and was needing a big number in the afternoon to climb the leaderboard to get above the cut line. And boy, did he get it. Andrew, with a stellar 7:06, vaulted him all the way up to second, while Simon McLaren Hausworth jumped from 7th all the way up to the lead with a 6:77 in the afternoon. Colton Swift, needing a solid afternoon block to leapfrog past a few players, got what he needed with a 6:43 to jump up to third. Rhett Ryman had a rough go of it in the afternoon, falling from 2nd to 7th. And Landon Stoddard dropped from 1st to 5th, certainly not what he wanted for sure, but still good enough to get into the stepladder finals where anything can happen. And Dylan Pollard held steady in the afternoon to qualify 4th, rounding out the top 5. So there it is, the final 5 in Division 1. The 5 seed meets the 4 seed, and the winner keeps advancing as long as he keeps winning. So it's time we light the match and get this rocket blasting off. In match 1, it's number 5 qualifier Landon Stoddard against the 4th qualifier, the Dill Pickle, Dylan Pollard. Landon Stoddard was still 16 years old at the time this episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour was recorded. But here in just the past week, Landon has turned 17. So a belated happy birthday to Landon Stoddard. He is going to lead off. And man, he leads off with a bang. That is a solid strike. Take another look at it. Familiar style of Landon Stoddard, a 5-step approach. Got that high backswing. Down and in shot, and see you later, Pins. Not much doubt about that one. Now, Dylan Pollard, the youngest player in our field today, he is 14. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, he doesn't bowl like a 14-year-old. Dylan Pollard, he has 6 tournament wins to his credit. He's won the HOA 3 times. That's the Heart of America Youth Classic, another tournament organization for youth bowlers here in the Kansas City area. He's won a KCO. He's won the JBC once, and he's won the Pepsi. That's pretty juicy. This kid has a 300 game, and his high series is 802. How many 14-year-olds do you know that have that kind of record? I don't know about you, but when I was 14, I was still throwing spit wads at the chalkboard in class at school. Somehow I think Dylan is a little beyond that. Whoops. That was a whoopsie. I don't know if it slipped off his hand or what, but clearly not what he had in mind. The washout, the 1-2-4-10. Here's how you make it. Put the ball on the left side of the head pin, throw that head pin over into the 10. Oh, he goes with a backup. And he makes it. Well, if you're going to leave it, you might as well make it. A little backup action. We're seeing more and more kids go to this for their spares. Gets it off the wall. Beautifully done. All right, Landon Stoddard. His high game, a 299. He's got a 759 as a high series. Well, that one, he let up on the speed a little bit. Looked to me like. And breaks up the split. Leaves the 610. Landon says his best moment bowling is when he won the KCO in February. He won all 4 matches to climb the stepladder that day, and he beat a murderer's row of opponents. The players he had to get past to win that tournament were Andrew Coleman, Caden White, Nolan Nash, and Donovan Courtney. That's some serious bowling when you beat those 4 guys all in a row. In all, Landon has 4 tournament wins to his credit. He won the Missouri USBC West doubles a couple of times. He won a 9-pin no-tap tournament. And, of course, that February KCO point tournament earlier this year. Boy, he gave that one the big loft. Sometimes when you catch the ball on the upswing like that, the fingers give it a little extra juice. That's why we say you usually want that ball coming in at a shallow angle to the floor. You don't want to be throwing the ball up in the air, coming off your hand. But easy spare, 10-pin. And he makes short work of it. Landon, an excellent spare shooter. Now, Dylan Pollard is a player that prior to last season, I had pegged him as one to keep an eye on. I thought he was going to make a big step forward last season. And he did in some of these other tournaments, but he struggled at the KCO. And I think it's because he moved up to Division I for the first time, where there is no forgiveness. You've got all the best players in Division I, and I won't say he wasn't ready, but he just didn't quite have enough juice in the tank to make many step ladders. But now that he's been bowling with the big boys for a year, he looks ready now. Big time strike in the 3rd. Now he'd like to extend his lead by putting a double up on the board. And that's how you do that. You hit in the swish zone and mix them up. Now Landon Stoddard, who says he wants to be either a zoologist or a PBA bowler. I don't know much about zoology, but I can tell you he is one of the most consistent performers we have at the KCO. He is always near the top 5. Ooh, not with shots like that. The Greek Church. The 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. I always say go for the 3 if you're not up against the wall, but if the match hangs in the balance and you got to make it, I think your better odds are going for the 2 on the left. But he takes the count at this stage of the match. I think that's the smart play. but he falls behind by 28. Oh, and he rips the rack that time. So he gets right back up on the horse. Watch this. It looks like the ball may be rolling out at the end, but that's just the final phase that the ball goes through on its way to the pins. And man, he just sent that 5 whistling over into the 7. There was no doubt about that one. All right, Dylan going for a turkey. And he gets the light shaker to go. There's a little wall shot action. Breaking up the 5-7, and he looks like he's a little surprised by that one. Watch it again. The ball isn't going to have quite enough drive to get the 5 pin, but the head pin comes to the rescue. It'll go to the left wall, come back, and get the 5. The 4 somehow went down before that. And now his lead has grown to 38 pins. Dylan definitely in control of the match at this point. Oh, it looked like he pulled that one. The ball tracked over about the 22nd or 23rd board at the arrows as we get a look at his 5-step approach, the footwork. See, that ball hit about 22 at the arrows, and it only got out to about 13 at the break point. He definitely pulled that one, but it held in the oil. We bowl in the house shot here at the KCO, but they only oiled the lanes once before the A squad goes off in the morning. They haven't been re-oiled since, so we're bowling on the burn. It doesn't make any difference to these guys. They'll knock them down no matter what. Landon with a solid strike there as we watch it again. Over about the 3rd arrow. Swings it out to about 7. You can't do it any better. Try to get another one here in the 7th frame and chip away at Dylan's lead. But he got that one just a little too wide, a little too early on the lane. It found the friction early and started to hook before he wanted it to, and it just broke fractionally high. Talk about football being a game of inches. Bowling is a game of half inches and quarter inches. And he takes care of the 4 pin. No muss, no fuss. But he really could have used that strike to draw a little closer. As it is, Dylan maintains a 39-pin advantage. And he's still got a string of strikes working. He can just about go run away and hide if he strikes in the 7th and 8th here. But no, that ball didn't look that bad. It entered a little high, but I've seen trip 4s on hits like that. But not to be. Look at this. The 410 just wiggling, laughing at him. Here's how you make the 410. He's just going to go for 1. And leading by such a big margin, that's probably the smart play. When you try to make the 410, try to cut it that thin, you're going to run by and miss both of them more often than you make it. So you might as well take the count and preserve whatever you can. He still leads by 25. And comes right back with another solid strike. That'll keep the heat on Landon. Over the fourth arrow. That time it got out to about 10. But it seemed like it had a homing device on it to find the pocket. All right, Landon, it is go time. Plants that one right where you want it. Not much doubt there. Let's take a closer look at Landon's game. 5-step approach. At the bottom of the swing, the ball is right under his head, just like you like to see it. At the top, it's right in line with his head. And at the bottom of the swing, there it is again, right under his head, or a little to the left of that. A little inside of that is even better than right under it. So he is in ideal position all the way through, checking all the boxes, and he gets a strike. Now he needs another one here. But once again, he gave that little extra lift coming through the ball. He caught it on the upswing again. That gives the ball a little more from the fingers, and he overhooks. And boy, a couple of missed opportunities this match to shave Dylan's lead, but he's going to have to settle for a spare here and hope that Dylan runs into a brick wall. Covers the spare. But now the best Landon can do is 201. Dylan is going at a 216 pace. So Landon is going to have to hope that Dylan fails to mark in both the 9th and 10th frames. And that is not going to happen. Dylan breaks up the 4-9. He knows he got away with one. Tempting fate with that one. Watch the 2-pin. That's the third one from the left. It'll trip out the 4. I don't know what got the 9. Good fortune. Now Dylan just needs to stay in the building. He needs 6 pins on this ball to shut out Landon. Chalk it up. Dylan Pollard takes match 1. Here's the shutout ball again. Yep, if I had a team of 14-year-olds, I'd want him on it. Well, that one doesn't quite get the 7, but doesn't matter at this point. He is going to be in the 230s. .235 with this spare. Oh, well. There's 39 boards on a bowling lane. You might as well use them all. 235. All Landon can do is tip his hat and finish out, get a final score. Might as well get all you can. There you go. I love it when I see a kid who knows he's beat, but he doesn't give up trying. He will finish out the match as best he can. I cannot think of a time I've ever seen Landon out of balance at the foul line. That is a great trait to have. Well, 6 doesn't quite get the 10, but except for that Greek church in the 4th frame, Landon bowled a very credible match. He just couldn't string the strikes when he needed to. So it's a 235 to 191 victory. And Dylan Pollard, the dill pickle, gets Landon Stoddard in match 1. And now he will face Colton Swift in match 2 when we return. Both Landon and Dylan each suffered one open frame in that opening match, so the difference really boiled down to Dylan being able to string together a 4-bagger in the middle of the match and a turkey toward the end, while Landon was only able to put together one double. And the way scoring works in this sport, while strikes are great, it's being able to throw consecutive strikes that really helps to grow your score. So despite Landon Stoddard throwing a pretty solid game, it was Dylan Pollard who was able to string the strikes and earn his way into match 2, where he'll now face Colton Swift of Emporia, Kansas, who's making his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour today. And as a first-timer on the show, there's not a whole lot I know about him other than what he has written down on his player profile sheet that I give these kids to fill out. I know that he's 17 years old, so about 3 years older than his opponent, Dylan Pollard, who is going to lead off. Colton, with the option, has elected to start second so he can finish first, put the pressure on Dylan. But Dylan may be impervious to pressure today the way he's bowling. I have not seen him quite this laser focused. That one over about 18 at the arrows, out to about 8. Crowding the head pin a little, but it looked like a pretty solid strike to me. All right, Colton Swift. Well, there's something about that last name of Swift here in Kansas City that makes you wonder if he doesn't have some special gifts, but I won't go there. I can tell you that he looks really solid. Boom. Colton, who bowls at Flint Hills Lanes in Emporia, Kansas. Well, that's a nice little introduction to the Prodigy audience. Watch this guy. 5-step approach, two-hander. Nice straight right arm in the backswing. Usually on a two-hander, you see the bent elbow, but he keeps his right arm pretty extended throughout the swing. That's unusual in a two-hander. So Dylan, trailing by 10, can even it up with another strike here in the second. Just like that. Well, Dylan's been bowling since he was 11, which is not that long ago, about 3 years ago. He says his dad asked us to go bowling one day in the summer while playing Fortnite. And apparently he took a liking to it, because here he is. And it's funny how that works out. When a young kid shows a knack for something, they kind of go, oh, this might be for me. But the wall shot doesn't quite get the 7 to go. So he'll have to settle for a spare here. But he shouldn't have any problem with this. Heck, he made it in the 10th frame of his last game as the ball was falling into the gutter. He makes a little adjustment, covers it solidly this time. Now Colton Swift, who says he got into bowling because his dad is a great bowler. And if Colton is his protege, I would say his dad is a pretty good coach, too. Oh, man. How did he do that? Something got the 7 pin from behind. Not sure if we'll be able to pick up what it was here, but let's take a closer look at Colton's game. Ball right under his head at release, actually a little left of that, which is even better. It's right next to his ankle, hand completely on the bottom of the ball, just like you like to see it, and that foot perpendicular to the foul line. This is ideal position. See if we can pick out what gets the 7. I think that's the 4 pin that goes into the pit, and then the pin behind it on the floor just nudged it forward, and it bounced up and got the 7. Oh my goodness. And then he throws one into the weeds. Well, the 210. I guess we're going to test your spare making ability, aren't we, Colton? Here's how you make the 210. Put the ball on the left side of the 2, throw it over into the 10. Oh, my goodness. He goes the more conventional route. We saw it made earlier with a player throwing the backup. Colton throws his normal hook ball at it, and he measures it perfectly. Watch this. That was not a spare ball either. That was a strike ball. He let it hook. And that was a thing of beauty. All right, Dylan. He is not going to back down today, I don't believe. Watch this one again. There's the ball at the bottom of the swing, right below his head. Now, at the top of the swing, it's not right below his head, but he is sending it on a left-to-right trajectory, so it's right in line with that launch angle. And then at the bottom, the ball is right below his head again. But he's in perfect position as well. Now a strike to take the lead right back. And that's one way to do it. He gets the messenger to take out the 10. Watch the head pin, the one in front. It's going to go to the left wall. and then come across the pin deck and take out the 10. The textbook messenger. Oh man, I really like this guy's game. He says his best moment in bowling came when he had his 800 series or when he picked up the big 4. Yeah, I'd say either one of those is a memorable moment. He says he has had a couple of concussions. It would surprise me to learn that none of his opponents have suffered a concussion banging their head against a brick wall bowling him. This guy is a force. Here's his footwork, 5-step approach, little drift to the left and then back to the right. Over about 18, swings it out to 8. And good night, Pins. Can 14-year-old Dylan Pollard keep pace with this guy? Well, when you got the brakes going your way, anything's possible. Yeah, he knows that he's just stole one. Yeah, he'll be talking about that one tomorrow. Watch this. I know it gets the 4. That'll be the 2-pin that goes to the left wall to get the 4. But what got the 10? Oh, the 6 went against the wall and came back across the pin deck and just got it on the front. And I'd say he liked that one a whole lot. How about that? Well, this pair of lanes is heated up. I think that's pretty much the way he had it drawn up. So Colton needing to strike here to keep pace. Oh, I don't know if you noticed that, but he actually slipped just a little at the foul line. Just maybe an extra inch of slide than what he was used to. That made all the difference. But he covers the 10-pin. And now trails by 12. With Dylan working on 4 in a row. Boom. Out go the lights. Tell you what, when we watch this replay, pay attention to how low Colton gets at the foul line, and then he holds it. Good knee bend, just the proper amount of spine tilt forward. He doesn't get too horizontal with his forward tilt. He gets low mostly with a big knee bend, and that is ideal. Boy, that could have been disaster. Dylan going through the nose and nearly had the 4-6. The 6 goes out, and he's left with a simple spare, the 4-pin. He thought about throwing his spare ball, but he's going to hook at this. And he covers it with ease. Well, Dylan Pollard says that when he grows up, he wants to be either an NBA player, might as well set your sights high, or a PBA Tour player, or an architect. I'd say it's good at 14 to leave your options wide open. Boy, another fortunate break as another split was staring him in the face for a moment. But the 9 goes out, and once again he has the 4-pin. He'll make 9 out of 10 of these, maybe 10 out of 10. 4-9, not so much. Good shot. So the situation is this. With a strike in the 9th, Colton Swift can square the match, and these two players would head into the 10th frame all knotted up. But Colton would have a decided advantage because he'd be working on a double while Dylan is working on a spare. Oh no. Colton Swift with not such good fortune as what Dylan has enjoyed in breaking up splits as he leaves the 3, 6, 7, 10. Well, he's made the 2-10 today. This is the mirror image of it, except with a couple of other pins. Put the ball over on the right side of the 3. But no, he puts it right on the face of the 3, and that won't do. So Colton falls 24 pins behind. And now let's take a look at this. With 3 strikes in the 10th, Colton can get to 223. Dylan going at a 237 pace. Well, about all Colton can hope for at this point. Go ahead and strike out for 223 and hope that Dylan opens in the 10th with short count. Colton can't win the match if he doesn't strike here. Okay. He's given himself a chance, albeit a remote one. Count is important on this last ball. If Dylan were to open in the 10th as a result of a split or something, it could be a huge factor here. If Dylan were to leave a Greek church or something with short count. All right, there's all 10. So Colton Swift has done all he can do. He filled 30 in the 10th. Can't ask for more than that. But boy, that split in the 9th and the subsequent open just put him in a world of hurt. And now Dylan Pollard can win the match without a mark. He needs 9 pins here. Of course, if he gets less than that, he'll need more on his second ball in the 10th and might even need a mark, depending on what he gets here. But there's 9. That is the winning ball right there. If he had left both pins, the 3 and the 6, he still could have won. He just would have needed to knock down one of those 2 pins left standing. But as it is, Dylan Pollard has won 2 matches and will be moving on to match 3 to face Andrew Coleman. He's in the 230s again. He's coming off a 235 the first game. And now we have a little interruption here as one of the pin chasers makes the successful run back on the gutter cap. And it is a 234 for Dylan Pollard. Colton Swift gave him a formidable match, but Dylan Pollard was up to the challenge. And now he moves to match 3, where he'll face Andrew Coleman. 2 fireballers go at it next.
I gotta say, Colton Swift made that quite a match. 5 strikes in the first 6 frames and 9 strikes overall. But that split in the 9th frame was like a punch in the gut, and even though he finished with a flurry of strikes, it just wasn't quite enough. And Dylan Pollard bowled a solid game of his own, starting with 6 strikes in the first 7 frames and a clean game. Still, the big impression I came away with after that match was, where has Colton Swift been? This kid has got some serious talent, and I can't help but believe we'll see him again. But today, it's Dylan Pollard who's advancing to match 3 after winning the first 2 matches today. And now the Dill Pickle will face our 2 seed, Andrew Coleman of the Bowling Coleman family. This is 2 months in a row that Andrew has made the stepladder at the KCO. He qualified 4th last month in Olathe before losing the opening match to Caden White. Andrew has made the show a handful of times, but is still looking for his first win. Not just his first tournament win, but his first win of a stepladder match on Prodigy. He'll need to win 2 matches to take the title in Division 1 today. But he'll have to get past a red-hot Dylan Pollard if he wants a chance to sign the coveted trophy pin. Andrew, being the higher qualifier, has elected to let Dylan start the match. I think Andrew wants to finish first so that he can put the pressure on Dylan in the 10th frame. And that one hooks high and leaves the 6-10. Dylan was flirting with the nose in a few of those shots in the late frames in that previous match. He broke up a couple of splits, but this time it goes through the nose. He better move. He almost missed that spare. All right, Andrew Coleman, 18 years old. He finished last month in Olathe 5th after qualifying in the 4th position, making the stepladder finals. This time he qualified 2nd. And he too goes through the nose, leaves the 6-10. Monkey see, monkey do. Andrew, one of, well, many siblings, I can't even count them all now, from the Bowling Coleman family. Most of them have been on Prodigy. I think one was already aged out when we moved up here to Kansas City. There's a spare. Not to leave you with the impression that Andrew has never won a KCO. He has. He's just never won in Division 1. His one KCO title came in one of the handicap divisions. But he's never even won a match on Prodigy before, despite qualifying for the show a number of times now. Boy, that's the way to introduce yourself to the pocket. Just run them over. Here's Andrew's style. Playing just left of the 4th arrow, swings it out to about 10, and down they go. 10 in the pit. All right, Dylan. Finds the pocket with that one. Dylan Pollard, who says his best moment in bowling was when he picked up the 7-10 split during league. And then when he told me that there was video of it, I said, well, let me find that. And how fortunate that his dad caught it on video. Here it is in slow motion. As cool as that was, I'm sure Dylan would rather not leave it here. Oh my goodness. He almost stood one back up. That would have been almost as unusual as a 7-10 conversion. Watch this one again. I think that might have been the head pin that almost stood back up. That would have been crazy. All right, Andrew Coleman. Yikes. Talk about sending one into the weeds. When I used to hit a ball that far offline on the golf course, one of my buddies would say, "You just hit one where the elephants go to die." But it's an easy spare, the 1-2. He just got that one way right of his target. There is a limit to how much area the house shot gives you. That's more like it. So Dylan with the early lead of 10 pins. For Andrew, this is a home game. He lives in Excelsior Springs, Missouri, and bowls league here at Gladstone Bowl. So he should be quite familiar with these lanes and how they behave. And that shot would tend to reinforce that notion. That's what we call high flush right there. Over the fourth arrow, swings it out to about 8. Pins have no chance. All right, Dylan, with a 10-pin lead, working on a double, can increase his lead to 20 with a strike here in the fourth. Well, as I mentioned, when he left the 6-10 in the first frame, he had a few balls go high toward the end of that last match. And he broke up the splits in every occasion, but whenever the ball starts to drift a little high, even if you don't leave a split, oh my goodness, he whiffed this. Well, that's just a mental lapse, a brain fart, if you will. But when you see that ball drift even fractionally high and you start leaving a 4-pin, or even if you break it up and trip a 4, I take that as a sign that it's time to move. Move your feet left a board or two. Move your eyes at the arrows left about a board. See, he's still throwing it out a little too wide into the dry. It's got to stay inside the oil line. The trick to staying ahead of the transition, especially on a house shot, is to move before it's time and ride the oil line just inside of where the lane is dry. He covers the spare easily. But now Andrew, with a strike working in the fourth frame, can extend his lead to 16 if he can double here. Any questions? This is about as good as I've seen Andrew bowl. Watch it again. We'll take a closer look at his game this time. At the bottom of the swing, there's his head, and the ball is well inside of that, which is great. His hand completely under the ball, at the bottom of the ball. That's where all the power lives. Ball's next to his ankle. Over the fourth arrow, out to about 12 that time. He's playing a tighter line. You see how he's keeping his ball inside the oil line. On a house shot, there's a heavier concentration of oil from about 10 to 10. And he's keeping it a little left of that. Carries a shaker this time. Here's his footwork, 5-step approach, little drift to the left like you see most of the two-handers, power players. He goes heel first on the final step. That's the sign of a planter, not a slider. There's not much difference between the two styles, between a planter and a slider. I think a slider is going to have less physical problems with their knee when they get older. But shoot, when these kids are this age, they're made of rubber anyway. Here's a side-by-side of these two talented young players. We sync them up right at the release point so you can check out the ball speed. I think it's going to be pretty similar. Andrew may throw it slightly faster than Dylan, but not much. But now Dylan really needs a strike here to cut into Andrew's lead, get it down to 16. Oh, well, that's one way to do it. Not what he had in mind, but he loved the result. Watch this nosedive, sometimes known as the Jersey squasher. Just goes through the nose and everything collapses. He's living right. All right, Andrew with strikes working. But that little string of strikes comes to an abrupt end as he goes through the nose and leaves the 3-6. He goes to another ball that doesn't hook as much. That is a smart play. Shooting cross lane from the left side of the lane over toward the right. Cut down on the hook so that you have less angle to chop it. Oh my. Well, that's what he was trying to avoid by using that other ball. But it hooked just enough that it plucked the 3 right off the 6. And that tightens this match. Now just 2 pins separating these two young players. Andrew's been bowling since he was 4 years old. I guess it's a rite of passage in the Bowling-Coleman family. He probably watched Mom and Dad in league from his ringside seat in the baby carrier. Well, he's right back on it with that strike in the 8th. Perfect balance and a perfect shot. Dylan with a strike here in the 8th. He can regain the lead. Oh, man, that was close. Good commercial shot, but the 10-pin stubbornly refuses to go. Got to be careful here. You can't be giving any pins away late in the match. Oh, my. Well, even if the ball had bounced out of the gutter and hit the 10-pin and knocked it over, it wouldn't have counted. Once the ball is in the gutter, it's dead. And when they bounce out like that, you want to look at the ball and make sure it didn't take a chunk out of it. But he got to within a couple of pins in the match. But then that open was very costly. But all is not lost. Dylan can strike out for 211. Andrew is going at a 206 pace. Well, Dylan just got that ball too far to the right. And so it hooked early and hooked left of the head pin. I think we'll get a good look at it here. See if we can't show this to you. He lays the ball down on the 24th board. That's 4 boards left of the middle dot. Then he hits 16 at the arrows. That puts the ball on a trajectory that will have it right of the 10th board even before it reaches the tracers. That nearest tracer is 34 feet, and the brown line indicates the 10th board. The oil is concentrated left of 10. He's getting it out into the dry even before it gets to the tracers. So it has to start hooking early. Andrew, lucky to have just the 610. Now, the last time he was up on the right lane, he was shooting at a spare similar to this, the 3-6, and he chopped the 3 off the 6. That might be rattling around in his brain as he shoots this. He's got to be careful with it. An open here would bring Dylan right back into the match. Oh my. So we're right back to a 3-pin match as these two head into the 10th frame. And now Dylan has the advantage. Even though he trails, he has a strike up. Andrew can strike out for 204. Dylan, as I mentioned a moment ago, can strike out for 211. So Andrew needs a strong finish to put the pressure on the dill pickle. Can't throw it any better than that. But now this next one is critical, as it will allow him to force Dylan to strike twice in the 10th. Beautiful shot, but this is the critical one. He leads by 3. If he can throw this strike in the 11th, he'll extend his lead to 13. Wow. Like it had eyes. Watch this powerful strike. He's moved a little left to stay ahead of the transition. And now he really needs 7 pins to force Dylan to strike twice in the 10th. Well, 9 or a strike meant roughly the same thing as far as the match is concerned. He gets the strike, so that gives him the 204 he needs, and now Dylan must strike twice to win the match. He needs a strike here in the 10th, a strike in the 11th, and then 4 pins or more on the fill ball to win the match. But when you need 2 strikes, you can't get 2 if you don't get the first one. He must strike on this ball or Andrew wins the match. Oh, he moved left. He made the right move, but then I think he just threw it a little extra hard to try to keep it on line. And the combination of moving left and the extra speed, and the ball just couldn't quite get up. This chop here is academic. Without the strike, he couldn't win. So Dylan's run in the stepladder finals comes to an end in match 3, and it's Andrew Coleman who has advanced, and he'll face Simon McLaren Houseworth for the title next. The final score in that last match doesn't really tell the story of just how close it was. Anytime it comes down to the 10th frame, it's a close match. And Dylan, who had a good look to the pocket all day, just kind of lost it and took a guess at what adjustment he needed to make to throw 2 strikes in the 10th, and he came up empty. But it was a great day for the Dill Pickle. He won the first 2 matches and had a chance to win the 3rd. But Andrew Coleman threw 8 strikes and kept the heat on Dylan through most of the game. And if not for those 2 chopped spares in the 7th and 9th frames, Andrew would have wrapped up the match long before Dylan ever had a chance to steal it at the end. So, Andrew Coleman wins a match on Prodigy for the first time, and now advances to the championship match against our tournament leader, Simon McLaren Houseworth. Simon of Bazor, Kansas, puts him up in the general vicinity of Leavenworth, so it should come as no surprise that he bowls at Crown Lanes, where we will be later this season. That's the bowling center that has the dinosaur out in the front yard. Wide with his opening toss. Could be a little nerves. This is his first KCO tournament that he has bowled in. So he's never even seen the Prodigy cameras looking down at any bowling lanes he was bowling on, let alone bowled in front of them. And he just clips the head pin, getting it to go, and that is a spare to start, and he can breathe a sigh of relief. As we turn our attention once again to Andrew Coleman, looking for his first Division I title at the KCO. Man, he is just murdering those pins. Watch it again. Look at how close the ball is to his ankle, his hand under the ball. Look at how his fingers come straight up the back of the ball. He's not going around the ball. He's going right through it. That's where a lot of the power comes from. And see that? That ball's sitting on the 12th board on its way there. That's the widest point. He's only swinging it out to about 12. The oil line is 10, 11, somewhere in there. May have moved a little left of that with all the play. He's playing the lanes just right. And that one doesn't quite get the 10. But he is less likely to get himself in trouble playing in there. We saw Dylan struggle with the lanes because he was sending it out into the dry part of the lane, right of the 10th board. Andrew's not messing with any of that. He's staying inside the oil line. That's how you play the lanes when you want to stay one step ahead of the transition. Easy peasy. And it looks like Shelley, the KCO board member that is observing this match, has to come down and make a scoring correction to the overhead scoring here in the bowling center. Simon McLaren Houseworth is 17 years old. He turns 18 in really just a few days, early November. So this is his final year of eligibility in youth bowling. I think he missed his target left that time. That ball was left of the fourth arrow, which is where I think he's playing right now. Could still be nerves, trying to get settled into a new environment here. You see the ball is right under his head. That's a good position to be in, but his hand is way over on the right side of the ball. You'd like it to be behind the ball, like we saw with Andrew. When you let your hand get around the ball, you tend to pull it. If you're going to have a mistake, it's going to be left. But he rips the rack that time, and there's no arguing the quality of that shot. Andrew's high game, a 300, and his high series, tantalizingly close to an 800. He shot 797. Says his best moment in bowling is when he shot that 300. With shots like that, I'm sure. I think it's safe to say that he is the best bowler among the Bowling-Coleman family at this time. His younger sisters have a little catching up to do. Oh my goodness. I got to learn that trick. Boy, you talk about getting away with one. Watch this. He got that one a little wide. You see it got outside of 10, so it started hooking, and boy, did it hook. Right through the nose, breaks up the 4-7-10. Looks like a solid strike on the scoreboard. There you go, Simon. Didn't pull that one so much. And because he's playing deeper on the lane that time, it didn't get out to the dry, so it just kind of held pocket. See, this ball never gets to the right of about the 12th or 13th board. There's plenty of oil in there. That's a great shot. Now he can extend his 10-pin lead to 20 with a strike here. And he shreds the rack. Look out for Simon. Here's his footwork. 4-step approach. Crossover on the first. Little hop. Hit about 22 at the arrows. That ball never got right of about 13 or 14. I think he pulled that one, but got away with it. Andrew trailing by 20 now. And he's got 3 strikes and 4 frames. And he did the same thing that time. If we get a replay of this one, you'll see that his ball crosses the arrows at about the 22nd board. That's about 2 boards left of the center arrow, the 4th arrow. Yeah, maybe about 21, but it gets out to maybe 11. And that is a beautiful strike. Look at all these X's on the scoreboard. Both players with 4 strikes and 5 frames. Andrew adds another, and that evens the match. Watch it again. That was left of the 4th arrow and still got out to about 11 at the break point. And that's like bouncing it right off the dry boards. Throwing it through the oil, hitting the dry, and watching it make a left turn. Oh! Well, that doesn't hardly seem fair. How did this happen? Watch the 2-pin. It's going to go to the left wall, and instead of coming back and getting the 7, it goes straight up in the air and bounces back down to the shaker board in the back behind the 7-pin. That's a fine how do you do. But he covers the spare. The trails by 1. Still 4 frames left. This could go any one of a number of different ways. Simon's high game, a 278. His high series, a 677. And now I'm going to tell you something that's not going to please you. He's 17 years old, turns 18 in a few weeks. He started bowling when he was 16. So he's only been at it about a year and a half, maybe. When I'd been bowling a year and a half, I was still asking for assistance to tie my bowling shoes. Here's his release. You see his hand way over on the side of the ball. If he could get his hand more behind the ball, it would keep his elbow in closer to his body, where he'd have more leverage and an increased rev rate. Carries a Brooklyn. He'll take it. Wow. Andrew just pouring it on. 6 strikes in 7 frames. And let's see 3 of them. The 3rd, 5th, and 7th frames. See how similar they look. Those are 3 different approaches in 3 different frames, but they sure look similar. And we'll be able to tell just how similar they were when we stack them on top of each other with the Prodigy 3 deep look. You see, their only change is each one is a little left of the next by maybe a board or 2. That just tells me he is moving left every so often, as you should. Maybe time to move another board. That one a little high on the head pin, broke up what could have been the 4-7-10. The 4 goes out, and he's just got the 7 and a 10-pin lead. Got to be careful with this. I know it's a simple spare, but you can't be making any foolish mistakes in a tight match like this. That is a low-stress spare right there. All right. Simon McLaren Houseworthy, his favorite pro bowler, Packy Hanrahan, says he wants to be a CPA when he grows up. Somebody's got to keep track of all the money he's going to win on the lanes. With shots like that. He started bowling by signing up at his school to try something new. And as we hear from kids every now and then, they just took to it like a duck takes to water. That one a little wider, got that out to about 8. But he has a lower rev rate than some of these other kids, so doesn't worry about it hooking out of control. Oh, he pulled that one left. Yeah, that looked to me like he may have got his spine angle tipped a little too far forward. So he's a little out of balance at the foul line. And once again, got his elbow out and his hand around the ball a little too soon. The 3-10, you make it by putting the ball on the right side of the 3-pin, let it deflect into the 10. Just like that. Tell you what, he's pretty impressive. Watch that again. Hard to believe this is his first KCO. Qualifies in the #1 position, and he's bowling like this for the title. Andrew with a 2-pin lead. Oh, that hooked early. So his lead will shrink to just 1 as he loses a pin in count. Well, I've said it many times in the past. I love a close match. Can't get much closer than this. Okay. So, Andrew Coleman going for his first Division I title at the KCO. Gets up in the 10th frame of the championship match, leading by 1. Both he and his opponent are working on a spare. So all Andrew has to do is throw 3 strikes in the 10th to shut out Simon. Anything less, Simon can get up and either tie or win. There's the first strike. Now he needs 2 more just like it. Watch it again. I've been pretty impressed with Andrew today, I have to tell you. I've never seen him bowl this well. He wants to be a pro bowler when he grows up. Well, here's a test you'll have to face on tour, buddy. Striking in the clutch. He could sure use another one here. But he misses wide, and that leaves the door open for Simon. With a spare here, Andrew will finish with 238. And this is an important spare because if he gets to 238, Simon would need to double in the 10th to beat him. A strike spare for Simon in the 10th, and he'd finish with 237. Oh, he chops it. So it is a 237. So the situation is this. We have the possibility of a tie. Simon must strike on the first ball in the 10th. If he goes strike spare, we have a tie. If he doubles, he'll need 1 more pin on his fill ball to win the match by 1. He must strike on this ball. But no, it goes high. He leaves the 4-7, and Andrew Coleman has found his way to the winner's circle for the first time on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Simon can finish no better than 235. Tell you what, that's a pretty doggone good showing for his first time bowling in a KCO and his first time bowling in front of tens of thousands of people on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, but it's going to be just a little short of what he needed. For a guy that's only been bowling about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, this is some pretty heady stuff, though, I have to say. He's been the high qualifier before at the Heart of America tournament, finishing 3rd. And now he's going to finish 2nd today at the KCO October Point Tournament in Gladstone. It's Brooklyn, but it counts as 10 in the pit. That is a 237 to 235 match. Andrew Coleman comes out on top, and you will finally get to meet him, and we'll get him to sign the coveted trophy pin next. Another down to the 10th frame match as Andrew Coleman failed to throw that second strike in the 10th, thereby leaving the door open for Simon McLaren Houseworth. But Simon couldn't close the deal with a double of his own in the 10th, and that put this win in Andrew Coleman's bank. So it's a strong showing by Simon McLaren Houseworth, but a runner-up finish. And our champion this month at the KCO in Division 1 is Andrew Coleman. It marks the second time a member of the Bowling Coleman family has tasted victory on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, as Andrew's younger sister Grace did this once before, 2 seasons ago in Leavenworth. So it's time you meet our winner.
He's been knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door, and today he finally kicked it in. Ladies and gentlemen, our latest champion on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, it's Andrew Coleman. You must have bowled some kind of way today to get into the stepladder finals, and then you just dusted them. So how did you do it?
So first set I came and shot 636, realized what I did wrong the last game of that set, and then came back and shot 702 the second set.
So did you have your mind made up this is the day?
Yep.
How many of these KCOs have you won before?
One other one, and it was in the class or E2 division.
Okay. Well, we had a couple of new faces on the show today, but you were a familiar one to Prodigy viewers, and I know some of them are pretty happy to see you finally win. I know I am.
I'm finally happy to win too.
I'll bet you are. Well, you know what this means? It means you get to sign the coveted trophy pin, and that qualifies you for the season-ending Prodigy Tournament of Champions. I think your sister bowled in it last June.
That she did.
Well, you'll bowl in it next June. Put today's date on it, too. Andrew Coleman of the Bowling Coleman family. And I know there's at least one Bowling Coleman that has aged out of youth bowling. There may have been more. Yeah, a couple of them now. Gabriel is on the board of directors here with the KCO. And I was in the snack bar earlier today and saw a whole nother generation of Bowling Colemans that are not quite old enough to throw a ball down the lane. So you just keep putting them in the pipeline, do you?
That we do.
All right, nothing else to do in Excelsior Springs, I guess.
Not really, especially when you're homeschooled.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, congratulations. I'm real happy for you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again next time.
Yep.
As I mentioned during the show today, the bowlers to our right on lanes 17 and 18 were the Division 2 finalists. And here's how their stepladder played out. As you can see, one contestant ran the stepladder. In the opening match, the 5-seed Tucker Huband of Washington, Kansas, about 140 miles from here up near the Nebraska state line, defeated Colton Boob, who won on Prodigy 1 year ago at this same bowling center. The final score, Tucker 237 to Colton's 219. Then in match 2, Tucker continued his winning ways, defeating the 3-seed Hayden Powers 228 to 135. In match 3, Tucker kept his strong play going, defeating the 2-seed Aiden Mercer 230 to 210. And in the championship match, it came down to a single pin as Tucker edged the tournament leader Benjamin Rodert 213 to 212. So congratulations to Tucker Huband, the winner in Division 2. On our last show, we showed you the finals in Division 3, which was won by Liliana Gentlemark. And we told you about how the stepladders played out in Divisions 4 and 5. In Division 4, it was Cayman Clare who claimed the title, and in Division 5, Little Kendall Cochran claimed the crown by a single pin. So congratulations to all 5 winners at the Kansas City Open's 2024 October Point Tournament. In Division 5, Kendall Cochran. In Division 4, Cayman Clare. In Division 3, Liliana Gentlemark. In Division 2, Tucker Huband. And in Division 1, Andrew Coleman.
The next stop on the Prodigy Bowlers Tour is Lawrence, Kansas for the 2024 KCO November Point Tournament at Royal Crest Lanes, where P.J. Dokalas won his final KCO title before aging out of youth bowling. If you'd like to bowl in an upcoming KCO, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com. There you'll find the schedule of events, rules, entry forms, and everything you need to know about the tournament. Once again, that's www.kansascityopen.com. If you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to receive notifications whenever we post new content. And be sure to leave a comment down below. We just ask that you not post a spoiler, a comment that gives away the ending. All these things help us grow the channel. If you'd like to support the work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and it takes about 40 hours to edit each episode of the show, become a Prodigy patron. For just $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes. And for only $10 a month, you'll get early access and you'll get your name listed in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. Just like the big shots in Hollywood do in the credits of motion pictures. Go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the instructions to become a patron. You will receive my undying appreciation for your support. To keep up with all things Prodigy, join the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Facebook group. From any page on Facebook, type Prodigy Bowlers Tour into the search bar and hit enter. That'll take you to a page where you can submit a request to join our group. But remember, if you ignore the 3 screening questions and don't answer them, chances are your request to join the group will be declined. So be sure to answer those screening questions so we'll know you're not a spam bot. Well, that's a wrap for episode 176. Be on the lookout for episode 177 from Lawrence, Kansas on November 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, here on this same YouTube channel. So for now, this is Coach Randy reminding you to stay behind the foul line and encouraging you to keep kicking out the corner pins, not the foul lights and ball returns. And we'll see you again next time, right here on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, go get your bowl on.